a problem.
All right, everyone. Hello, and welcome back to the channel. All right, now, like the title stated, the frauditing community has a problem. A problem that I think we will all find interesting. A problem that I think, in my opinion, will benefit the people. Okay, as we all know, frauditors want we the people to believe that when they go to these government locations and do their fraudit, okay, I will never call it an audit. It'd be a cold day in hell before I call what they do a audit. Okay, as far as I am aware, nobody, we the people, have not elected anybody to go to these government locations and do what they're doing. Nobody from the government has given them any kind of duties to go to these locations to do what they're doing. These are people, in my opinion, that have been watching other assholes on YouTube and figured, oh, I got a cell phone with a camera app on it. I can go to these government locations and be a pain in their ass and make some quick, easy cash on YouTube. Okay? So again, I say, it'd be a cold day in hell before I call what they do a audit. They are frauditing as far as I'm concerned. Now, apparently Rogue Nation and Rights Crispy, which I'm going to take for granted that most of us here are aware who I'm talking about. Rights Crispy himself was out in Alabama, and he had the audacity to go into the Alabama Health Department and act a fool. Act a fool. I'm going to show you a little clip that he threw out there. And the shit that he did, again, I say, the majority of these frauditors, when they go to these government locations, it doesn't make any sense. I think we could all agree on that. How the hell does it benefit them walking into a government location, aiming their cameras at people? Let's take real quick, I know I'm jumping around here, Sean, Long Island Audit, when he went to the post office out in Maryland, and he got lucky and got that $12,500 from the city of Maryland because they didn't want to take the case to trial. But I'm talking specifically about what he did there at the post office. He walked into the post office, a small little area. He walked in a circle 5 times. 5 times. Okay? Listen, the first 2 times was enough that if nobody said anything to him, oh, they respected my rights, let me go on to the next one, or let me go home, or whatever. But no, he continued to walk around in circles there until the people got pissed off. People got annoyed. And that's what they do. They go to these frauditors go to these government locations, and they say they're testing the people to see if anybody's going to tell them to stop recording. And this way they could educate, right? That's what they tell, right? That's what they say they're going to do. But when nobody says nothing to them, their whole intentions now are to stay there and become an annoyance, become a nuisance. Because, damn it, it only takes 15 to 20 minutes. You go into a location, nobody says shit to you about you recording. Come on now. Okay, they respected my rights. We go. Reality here. Well, let's look at the big picture. Who goes to a damn government location just to record only? A post office. Who goes to the post office to record specifically just to record? Nobody, right? If some dumbass wakes up one day and says, oh, I want to spend some time at the post office. Come on, 15, 20 minutes is a sufficient amount. There's really nothing to look at the post office. Shipping supplies, Hallmark cards, the employees, the people. Come on, 15, 20 minutes. But no, not Sean. Sean wanted to walk around in a circle 5 times until, again, I say, the employees, just got on, he got on their nerves, and the people. And that's what kicked everything off. So, again, they respected his rights, but now he abused his rights because he wanted to continue to stay there all damn day. all damn day, even after the post office shut down and they stopped accepting people. He could have turned around and said, okay, they failed, I'm out of here. But no, he truly wanted to stay there and annoy the shit out of them and get a police interaction on video. And he got one. Oh, he got one. And yeah, he made some quick, easy cash, okay? But he didn't do what he did there. Didn't benefit nobody. Didn't benefit anybody but him. Realistically, look at the big picture. The only person that benefited there was him. We the people didn't get anything. And it ain't about the money, damn it. I'm talking about in the long run. The post office ain't gonna change. They got a memo now. They got a memo because of these assholes now to not interact with them, to ignore them in a sense. And what happens, guys, we already know that shit doesn't work, because when you ignore them, their next option is now to screw with the people, because they know past history has shown them, okay, the employees don't want to give us a reaction. Well, the people, if we aim the cameras at people, eventually one of them is going to blow up at us. That's the way their mentality works. And I just don't see it. But anyway, getting back to Rogue Nation and Rice Krispie. Rice Krispie went to a health center in Alabama, health department, and acted a fool. And now that particular health department put a policy into play that, in my opinion, has Rogue Nation and Rice Krispie concerned. Let me show you that small little clip before we go any further of what Rice Krispie did, and then we'll talk about what the health department, the policy they put into play, that Rogue Nation, in my opinion, Rogue Nation and Rice Krispie are truly concerned about. Let's check out this small little clip real quick.
Oh, glory. This is right outside of the hotel where I was staying. It was a golf resort hotel, and this is like the main laboratory for the state of Alabama's Department of Public Health. So I just saw it on my way out of the hotel. I was like, oh, let me go check this place out. And they freaked out. Many of you might have seen this. Some of you might not have. This lady freaks out in here. She put her hands on me. And this is the only time I ever gave my ID to a cop, and it was to file the report. And it caught him off guard, too. He wasn't expecting it. But these people were acting like I was trying to go into the look at this. Just watch. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, I'm just going to do a quick tour. I'll be right in and out.
Okay, do they know that you're doing the tour?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, who are you with?
I'm with the Bolt Action News Group, and we conduct audits. I don't call ahead. I just check and see how everything's running. Now, we just health before they get checked out, you know? That's all you can say. I'll tell you everything when I'm done.
Okay.
Okay.
I can't let you go past here until I let someone know, sir.
No, I mean, that just sounds silly. I'm going to the publicly accessible areas, okay? Are you going to physically restrict me from doing that? Or don't...
Sir, I have to take your temperature.
Okay.
And no one can go past this area. This is the only public area right now.
Okay. All right. This is the only public area that's secured? There's no signage? There's some of the things that we're looking for. No, signage saying that it's restricted. Sure.
Hold on. Let me get my director, because we don't know what you got going on. So you stay right there.
Oh, I just told you. It's as simple as that.
I can't allow that. So is that on?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you turn it off, please?
Absolutely not. No.
Who are you again?
My name is Finn.
Call Dr. Williams out, please.
My name is Finn. Let's keep our distance.
Right. So you can turn it off. I didn't give you permission to record.
You stop that. Stop being silly, okay?
No. No, you need to.
No.
No.
You listen.
No, you
listen.
No,
First
you
Amendment
listen.
to the United States Constitution.
Sir,
gives me freedom
Okay,
of the
sir,
press.
This is a business.
And you're not going to violate my
Sir,
civil rights in
sir,
Montgomery.
This is a business. This is not Montgomery.
This is not a business.
This is a business.
This is
state
the
personnel.
Alabama Department of Public
Exactly.
Health. You're
You're right.
escalating the situation. You need to
You're
turn it down.
Because I've asked
You
you,
need
to hold on.
calm down, please.
I don't know who he is. He's here.
I just told you my name is Finn.
I don't know
I'm with the.
who he is.
What? Why did you call this irrational person? I'm talking to the lady at the desk. Now, yes, we do.
Actually violating HIPAA bill.
An assistant upon entry. Administrative suite. See, that's marked. Hey, now that's a simple assault.
I don't
That's
care.
a simple
I don't
battery.
care.
You just put
Don't
your hands
it.
on me.
I did not touch
You're gonna
you.
go to jail today.
I did not touch you.
You're gonna go to jail
Just do
today.
Whatever.
This is an extension of
No,
me.
I did
You
not
just couldn't.
touch you.
You just couldn't keep
I
your
did
hands
not
to
touch
yourself.
you.
You wanted to go to jail
You
today.
put that-
All right, so let me just say that I was looking for this video on Rice Krispies channel, but I couldn't find it. So he either took it down or whatever the case may be. This is all I could find. This is what he had attached to what we're going to talk about in a minute. But let me just say, let's all look at the big picture here, okay? Like he stated, he was at a hotel across the street or whatever from this location. He figures because it's the health department, well, it's some kind of laboratory, something to do with the health department. He figures because it's a state location and he pays taxes, that gives him the rights to go into this building and walk around wherever the hell he wants to. Let me repeat that, guys, so that we all get it in our heads. Because this location is a state property and he pays taxes, he feels that he can go into this location and walk wherever the hell he wants to. Okay, now you heard him talk to the I don't know, receptionist, I'm gonna call her. Okay, here he's telling the receptionist is this small little area that you see where the chair's at. This is the only good picture that I can get. Okay, this little small areas. This is the only thing that's publicly accessible. As you could see on towards the left there, those closed doorways. Okay, you heard him make comments that he's from Boat Action News, and they go to government locations to do audits. Okay, and you heard him also make comments about the way he was talking of those doorways. If there's no such thing, if there's no signage on the door stating restricted areas or employees only or whatever the case may be, no signage, he's walking in through those doors. And I'm sure we've seen many videos of these frauditors. If that's the kick in the ass. A lot of these locations, I think they have it in their head that, well, people are going to use common sense, because who's going to walk into regardless that I pay taxes, I personally, I'm using myself as an example, I'm not going to walk into this location and say, oh, I pay taxes so I can go wherever the hell I want to go. Those closed doors there, there's no signage stating that it's employees only or whatever, I'm walking through those doors too. So I think a lot of these locations, they feel that people are going to use common sense. And as we all know, the frauditors, their whole definition of common sense is, if there's no signage stating employees only, then that means I can go in there, okay? And that's not the way it's gonna. That's not the way it should work, and that's not the way, I don't think it works that way. But because of his actions in this location here, now we're going to talk about what's got them concerned now. This particular location, as you notice, he had a bad interaction with one of the ladies there, and I can only, by what he was talking about, I can only take a guess that she smacked his camera or whatever, and he must have, that's why I said I was looking for this damn video, because the way he was talking, the lady smacked the camera or whatever. So, oh, today you're going to jail. That's another thing. They go into these locations to stir problems up, and when shit don't go their way, here they are crying the victim, and they want to call police to get the person into problems. Okay, like really, whether the lady took it upon herself to touch his camera, smack his camera, whatever, then you should have never went into the location talking about you're going to go into areas. If there's no signage, I'm going into those areas. Think about it, guys. This receptionist here, she don't know this guy. She don't know him from Adam. All she knows is some guy came off the street, walked off the street talking about he's going to walk in my place of employment wherever the hell he wants to because he's some boat action news reporter or whatever doing an audit. Really? With all the crazy shit that's going on, I'm going to let this asshole walk in here and go wherever the hell he wants? And because he has a camera in his hand, that makes him harmless? Bullshit. Okay, so again I say because of this interaction that he had here, this particular location put a policy into play. Let me bring that up on the screen, because this is where the good part comes in. Hang on a second here. All right, so after this interaction with Rice Krispie here, the health department or laboratories, whatever you want to call it, put this policy into play. Responding to First Amendment auditor visits. Number 1, assure that multiple flyers are posted that state video recording is not allowed. Contact Paula Oliver, state clerical director, for copies. Okay, so they want to ensure that there are flyers, and we all know frauditors don't respect flyers, okay, unless there's a statute or ordinance, so they're going to have a problem with that one, but it gets a little better as we go. Ensure that printed copies of the Attorney General. Now, that's a good thing there, okay? This particular location was in contact with the Attorney General, and the Attorney General sent them an opinion that they can use to give them ammunition to fight these knuckleheads, okay? And that's what got Rogue Nation, and we'll hear that in a little bit further down in this video here. We're going to hear how it's got Rogue Nation and Rice Krispie concerned. Trust me, they are concerned. Have accessible staff available. Okay, hold on. Let me go back out here. Ensure that the printed copies of the Attorney General's opinions are readily accessible to staff and available at the front desk. Okay, this way they walk in there talking some bull crap about they have every right to be here. Here's from the Attorney General. Take that, get out. Okay, that's the way I would do it. Number 3, ensure that printed copies of the ADPH visitors policies are readily accessible to staff, available at the front desk. Okay, ensure the staff are aware of this guidance. Okay, so pretty much what we're gonna read now. I'm gonna jump into the next screen because I can only fit so much in this screen. I had to blow it up so that we could all see it on our screen. Okay, but this is the policy that they put into effect because of his interaction, because of the stupidity, and it just proves that all of these frauditors all of these frauditors go into government locations. Again, I say, and listen, don't take me wrong. I don't want Big Brother taking advantage of us. Okay, I understand we pay taxes. Again, I say, the way my way of thinking, I'm not saying it's the right way, it's just my way of thinking. I pay into the pot. I understand that it takes a shitload of money to operate the United States of America. So all of us, we pay into the pot, and we hope that the government uses what we spend, what we pay into, the right way. Okay, I still don't have it to this day, and I never will have it in my head that I'm a taxpayer and this building was funded with taxpayer money, so that gives me the right to go in there and do what I want to do. No, I'll never have that thinking, okay? Just because you pay taxes does not give you the right to go into these locations and talk to the employees like shit. Go into that location and say, you're going to go wherever the hell you want to go because this place was built with taxpayer money. This place is funded by taxpayer money. So that means that I could come in here and do what I want to do. There's nothing on the books that say that. Nothing. These individuals like playing that bullshit about, they got to see things written down on paper for them to respect it. Well, show me where in the books it states that because you're a taxpayer, you have every right to walk into these locations and do what you want to do. Okay, we can go back and forth on this shit all day. Okay, but let me jump into the next screen so we can further look at this policy. All right, so here's the policy that's been put into effect by the Alabama Department of Health Services. Now, before I read this off, and I think some of you guys can read off while I'm talking here, but this is a step in the right direction. That's the way I see it, okay? This location, it only takes one location to have the cojones, the balls, and excuse me, ladies, the way I'm saying this, okay? But it takes one location to get up the nerve to stand up to these guys, and then we could all turn around and do our part and inform. If you have a health department in your location, damn it, get involved, communicate with your local health department, let them know, hey, there are these, whether you have frauditors at this moment or not. Even if you don't have frauditors in your neighborhood, you need to inform your health department. Let's get these government locations the information that will give them the tools to fight these knuckleheads. Look at me. I never knew I had a frauditor in my backyard until one of my good friends, T-Bone, showed me I had a frauditor in my backyard. And hey, listen, I'm waiting for him to come around my neighborhood. I've been watching his channel. I want to get into a debate with his ass, okay? But back to this policy here. It only takes one government location, okay? One government location to have the balls to stand up to these guys, and then other government locations could work off of this. Okay, I think I'm explaining it properly, but let's read off here. Number one, inform them when a frauditor walks in there talking that bullshit that we all hear them talk. They have every right to be here and blah blah blah. Hey, the person who's at the front desk, this is what they have to communicate to that individual. If you encounter someone filming in the ADPH facility, okay, specifically a frauditor, what normal person's gonna go? If you have a legitimate reason, man, God, this is why I say it. Also, the shit they doing will hurt us, okay? It's hurting us because there might be somebody with a legitimate reason to record, okay? Legitimately. Not these assholes. Let's just say, and I know I'm gonna make this, I'm trying to keep the video short, okay? But let's just say, I know my rights. If I'm doing something normal and somebody violates me, I'm going to use it. That's when I feel that I have to flex my right, if somebody violates my right. But these guys, they're like, how should I say it? Without any government location giving them a problem, they're going there just to screw with them, all because they want to make a damn video. These guys have figured out a way how to make money by going to these locations, flexing their rights, right? There's no reason to flex your rights. That bullshit about use it or you're going to lose it, it's bullshit. Come on. The rights of 1776, we're in 2020, 2022, 23. Okay? Could anybody say we've had problems with our rights? So all of a sudden now, because these assholes want to make money off of it, we got to use it or we're going to lose it. They want to get everybody in an uproar. And that's exactly what they're doing. The way I see it, they're turning people against our government. Listen, again, I say, I understand our government has faults. I'm saying it. Our government has faults. Any damn government, every government out there, different countries or whatever, they have faults, okay? Well, there's ways to fix that. The next election, if you're not happy with a particular politician who you put into office a while ago, he's going back on his word, or you feel this guy's no longer, he's not benefiting the people, well, then you elect somebody different. Next election, that's the way it works, okay? But to go to these government locations and fight the small employee who ain't got shit to do with it, come on. It's all about making videos. They're not no activists. Come on now. Those subscribers, they go with it because, again, I say, a lot of them have lost their damn membership to Netflix and Prime and all that shit. This is the next best thing for them. All they want to see is confrontation. They don't want to see... Oh my God, I could be repeating this shit over and over, but I know you guys understand what I'm saying. But back to this policy. So now a frauditor walks into a government location. That person at the desk is going to tell them, inform them that video recording is not allowed inside their facility. Direct them. Number 2, direct them to the poster that prohibits filming, right? They want flyers all throughout the area there, no recording allowed. But that's not going to stop these assholes, as we all know that, okay? Number 3, ask them to discontinue filming. We all know that shit don't work either, but this is ammunition that they will, it will work to their advantage down the road. You'll see what I mean as the video goes further. Provide them with a printed copy of the workplace visitor policy. Okay, again, we all know these assholes. Policy don't apply to them. Policies for you guys that work there, and we all know that's bullshit. Okay, policy was put into play for everybody so that the operation of that facility runs smoothly. Okay, but again, these guys get away with a lot of shit, but it'll get better as you see. Watch. Do not engage in a conversation with the person doing the recording. That back and forth bullcrap, that's what they want. As we all know, that's what they consider content, the back and forth arguing. Screw that shit. Make your point. This is, recording. Give them the copy of the policy. That's it. They can keep talking, running off at the mouth. That's it. You did your part. You did your job. Calmly offer any clients in the waiting area. And I heard this from one of because I got a little annoyed. I saw a couple of videos where the human service, where they stopped servicing the people because of the frauditors. Okay, they I forget the name of the video where the 3 knuckleheads went in there barging like terrorists or whatever, and then the human services, they stopped servicing the people, which I unfortunately got a little annoyed because I'm saying, damn, the people got it in, they got it up the ass. The people that were there waiting to get service, they're the ones that got affected. And I understand. I think a couple of people had told me, well, it helps the agency out because now when the police come, they could turn around and say, look, this is how they disrupted business. We can't continue to service the public because of these guys here. You know how they say, well, the privacy, the onus is on them to create the privacy. Well, this is their way of creating privacy. You cannot record in certain areas. As we all know, listen, you give these guys an inch, they want to take a mile. You would think they'd be happy. A lot of these locations, I notice, they don't have a problem with you want to record, and that shit, I don't even go for that shit either. You want to go into the lobby area where people are sitting there, but those people shouldn't be, they shouldn't have to be forced to be on somebody's recording that they don't know. Okay, so again, but what I'm talking about, a lot of these frauditors want to be right up on, I've seen what's his face, Denver Metro Auditors do it. He goes right up to the damn counter where people are exchanging their information. And I've seen Sean do that shit too. Okay, while people are exchanging their personal information, they're not recording specifically that, but as we all know, them panning to the right, panning to the left. I've done it where I got a picture of that the frauditor that's in my neighborhood. Okay, the frauditor, what, I forget his damn name right now. He had a car accident or whatever, and the officer gave him his license. That's how I got his picture. I zoomed in. Okay, the officer gave him his license, and as he was putting his license in his wallet, I stopped my editing program on that little frame there. I zoomed into his picture and took his picture. So it's just it's crazy how you could actually get people's information. And like, again, maybe the frauditor, maybe I'm saying maybe because you don't know these damn frauditors, you don't know what their real intentions are. But let's just say they say that they're not there intentionally recording people's information. Okay, we could swallow that, right? But by what they're doing, damn it, by what they're doing, panning to the right, panning to the left, they're catching people without even realizing they're catching their information. You got people out there that do identity theft and so on. They got editing programs that they could zoom in on that information. So the onus is on them to create the privacy, and when they do try to create the privacy, they turn around and say their civil rights are being violated. And let me just say, they say it's their civil rights to go record. Where in the books does it say recording somebody is a right? You know, these guys, I'm telling you, they twisted the Constitution they done twisted a lot of words, as we all know, to work to their advantage. Let's get back over here. Do not engage in a conversation. I like that part right there. Don't get into that back and forth argument with them. Calmly offer any clients. Now you're getting rid. That's where I was at, where I left off at. I understand now. This way they could use that as ammunition. If the recording persists, okay, notify police. Immediately the police should be called. Screw that shit. Because we all know these guys are not going to go nowhere. They want to stay there and irritate the shit out of you. Number 9, when the police arrive, and we all, I like this one, provide them with a printed copy of the Attorney General's opinion, workplace visitor policy. If the police, right, have any questions regarding the Attorney General's opinion or ADH visitor policy, or if they say there is nothing they can do, provide them with the telephone. And let me jump into the next screen. Give me a second. So if the police go there, and I've heard it, I think we've all seen videos like this where the police goes to the location to tell the people, hey, they're in public, we can't do nothing about it. Bullshit. Bullshit, guys. So now here the location is telling them, provide them with the telephone number to the legal counsel, their legal counsel. Let the police officers call. This way their legal counsel, their attorney, could tell them, give them the ammunition to get rid of these individuals. Now, again, I'm going to say, this policy that this location has put into play has Rogue Nation and Rights Crispy concerned. And it should, because this is what needs to happen. One location needs to have the balls to stand up to these guys. So this way, other locations can, start, it only takes one, and then the rest can follow. And, hopefully this shit will it'll slow them down. Okay? Now, again, I don't want anybody to think that I'm here trying to, I want to, how should I say? I'm not trying to live in a police state. I'm not trying to say Big Brother run my life or anything like that. But let's be real. These guys are not doing anything. They're not doing anything for the people. These guys have learned how to manipulate the Constitution, twist things around to work to their advantage to stop them from getting arrested and harassing people. That's all they're doing. They're harassing people. They're not doing anything that benefits the people. Shit, anybody who could turn around and tell me that we're benefiting out of this, let me know, damn it. Let me know. And if I think you're serious and it really is benefiting the people, shit, I'll support them. But as far as I can see, come on now. Them walking into a government location, aiming the cameras. These guys say that what they're doing down the road is going to help us, right? How is it going into these locations, aiming a camera at somebody, at one of the employees or the people, until they get pissed off and get into a back and forth argument, is helping anybody? Truly, how is that helping anybody? They say they're educating. We all know that's bullshit. I've seen a lot of these people come up to them and say, hey, why are you recording us, and so on, blah, blah, blah. They either give them the cold shoulder, silent treatment, or they tell them mind their business or whatever. Come on. So they do a lot of double talking. But let me show you. Let's kick off what Rogue Nation and Rice Krispie, their little live stream that they had over this here, this policy. And again, I'm telling you guys need to get involved. Okay, do not take me wrong on how I say this, but sitting here watching these videos every day and commenting on them is not enough, guys. It's not enough. We need to get involved. If we want to really, if you're not a part of the solution, you're a problem. You're a part of the problem. Okay, you see something wrong, you do your part. You, like I said, with this policy, communicate with your local communicate with your local government offices. Let them know about these guys here. I've done it. I went to my post office, city hall, the police. I interact with them. Okay. I mean, come on, you're not snitching, you're not bootlicking. That's another thing. They talk like if we support our local police officers right away, we're bootlickers. The people that are out there protecting us from the knuckleheads, the maniacs that are out there, if we give them any kind of support, we're bootlickers. Ain't that some shit? But enough talking, because we're gonna go over an hour, and I'm not trying to. Let's kick off their live stream so we can hear how this got Rogue Nation and Rice Krispie concerned. All right, let me also mention that I'm going to play their portion, a small little portion of their live stream, and I'm not going to say nothing. I'm not going to interrupt. I want you guys to listen carefully to what they're saying, and then at the end, you make up your mind. Does it make sense what they're saying? Because you're going to hear them comment that if worst case scenario, they're going to get themselves arrested so that they can go into litigation to stop this policy, to put an end to this policy. Well, damn it, in my opinion, that's what they should do. If they're not happy with particular rules, policies, whatever, at government locations, then really, in my opinion, that shit should be fought in court. In court, in front of a judge. Let a judge decide, okay? Them going to these locations and acting a fool, forcing the small employee, they're forcing it down their throat, their way of thinking, that's bullshit, guys. But again, I'm saying, I'm not going to say any more. I want you guys to listen and uninterrupted, okay? And you guys make up your own mind. Okay, you decide if you think that what they're saying is for your benefit or they're full of shit. In my book, they're full of shit. But you make up your own mind.
Attached is a new workplace visitor policy. This policy addresses how visitors are received, including health screening, blah, blah, blah. And it's pretty much a whole bunch of stuff, but with this mixed in it. The policy ensures that visitors will not pose threats to our premises or employees, distract employees from their work, or have access to confidential information. So all this stuff is like, you've heard people say it's the onus is on them, except for posing threats. That's just irrational fears and feelings, distracting, like, our employees have ADHD. Now it's our fault. Have access to confidential information. How do they have that out? We've gone through this in almost every Department of Health that we've gone to. Whenever somebody says HIPAA, we always tell them, that's on you. It's your responsibility to make that, private. And how do we know unless we look? And they don't want us to look anymore. they want to blame us for people being distracted, for our employees who we pay to keep our information confidential to be distracted. All right. Let me get to the Attorney General's opinion, actually. Again, he's answering questions from that Department of Health guy, Scott Harris. And this is from Stephen T. Marshall, the Attorney General of the state of Alabama. Dear Dr. Harris, the opinion of the Attorney General is issued in response to your request on behalf of the Alabama Department of Public Health. Number 1, may the ADPH restrict access to state laboratory only to persons who have a business purpose? That's a good question. May the ADPH restrict access to the curtilage of the state laboratory to prevent persons from peering into windows or from attempting to gain access through employee entrances? So they want the curtilage, if you don't know, is all the outside of the building, like parking lot, everything. They don't want us to be in there either. Number 3, may the ADPH implement a policy that prohibits taking photographs or video recording in the lobby of county health departments. Not just the laboratory, but all county health departments now. May the ADPH implement a policy providing that if a visitor causes a disturbance or annoys persons in a county health department lobby, then they must leave the premises. Facts and analysis. Your request states that the local county health department provide various healthcare services such as family planning, cancer screening, immunizations, sexually transmitted. So they're trying to use like all these programs that have private info on it as an excuse of why they can stop our civil rights. And he goes on to cite the limited public forum doctrine. Have in place appropriate administrative, technical, and physical safeguards to protect the privacy. Yes, they have to have those safeguards themselves. Their safeguard can't stop us from our freedom of the press. To go on, hang on. So it says here, on October 19th, 2020, a person visited the state laboratory and refused to sign in or have his temperature taken to screen for COVID-19. The person claimed to be a First Amendment auditor. I never claimed that. And while recording, attempted to access areas beyond the laboratory's lobby to perform an audit. I did say that. As a result of this attempted intrusion, you question whether county public health departments can limit photographs or video recording in their lobbies and whether a person can cause a disturbance, causing a disturbance may be removed. In addition, you question whether a state laboratory can limit its accessibility to only those people with a business purpose. And this is very important right here. While there is no law authorizing a First Amendment audit of a state laboratory, the First Amendment protects the right to gather information about what public officials do on public property. So he starts off by saying, yeah, we're right, but this is what we could use against them. Smith versus City of Cumming, you've heard us say, that's where we're right. And now, being a non-public fora, which he's trying to, use as like that when this was written, it was specified that this should not be used as a mechanism to trample on other rights. So the non-public fora is not like the traditional public forum. And this is not legal advice. I'm not a lawyer, but I did watch Matlock in the car with Rogue Nation on the way back.
We did listen to some Matlock episodes on the way home from Alabama. They're free on Pluto TV, and no, they're not sponsoring this video. But
So,
okay, let me do a little bit into this public forum before we move on there, and you could check to see if there's any other interesting parts in there you want to read. But basically, the whole thing boils down to non-public forum, the public forum doctrine. So for those of you that don't know, the public forum doctrine has been around in some form for about 100 years. The first case was Davis back in the day, but there's a lot of case law on the public forum doctrine. And
Can I reply real quick right before we get into this one part?
Yep.
In the traditional public forum, like streets or sidewalks, the government has strict scrutiny to restrict our rights. If the court looks at it, they're gonna be very strict on why did the government restrict your rights on a street or on a sidewalk, right? Because unless there's a volcano erupting at the end of the road, they can't stop your free movement down the road, right? There has to be a really, really good reason. Now, in the limited public forum, there are certain restrictions that can be placed because it's a limited public forum, and they have what's called reasonable review, and that usually goes on the side of the government because they want to be able to have their limited public forum. It just makes sense, right? Not everywhere can be totally public. What the difference is, and what I'm going to point out here, it says in this paragraph, there is nothing in your request that indicates that the land immediately surrounding the state laboratory possesses special characteristics that would entitle it to a higher level of scrutiny. Now, what I was saying, like that of a traditional public forum. Yeah, the outside of the building, nothing, he's saying nothing like it being outside and in the traditional public forum makes it seem like it's in the traditional public forum. So he's just like ignorant to what it really is. He wants to, this is like a classic case of, I wish it were true. Let me fancy it up with legalese and hope that it flies. Okay, that was my
that was Crispy's rant. And so, okay, so, and basically what it is the public forum doctrine is used to regulate speech and protest, expressive activities, okay? So, they say, obviously, you can't, hold an assembly, you can't assemble in the middle of City Hall. You can't, you and your buddies can't protest in the middle of City Hall with signs and pickets and stuff like that. And they're absolutely right. That wouldn't make sense. That would obviously be a disruption to work and business there if you were doing that. However, and what the recent case of Price v. Garland just recently said in the D.C. District Court of Appeals is that recording...
To be fair, I'm sorry to interrupt again. To be fair, this Attorney General's opinion was done in February of 2021, a full year before this case law that proves them wrong was shown. But when the traditional public forum was written, it was said not to do some shit like this. But go on.
Right, and even I mean, we don't even need the Price v. Garland case, right? Because the simple fact of the matter is and again, I'm getting into it is that none of the public forum doctrine cases deal with press in any way, shape, or form. And there's only been 2 cases where it's even been mentioned in context with the press. One was the Bunta case. And in that case, the gentleman was in a college lecture hall, okay, and they were given a lecture, and he was being disruptive, and because he was being disruptive, they wanted him to leave, so then he started recording, and then when they got tossed out, arrested, or whatever, he tried to sue on his First Amendment right, whatever, and he ended up losing. But that place, again, is not open to the public generally. And the same goes with their other, case that they like to point to, the Evers case, in which a journalist, an organization, had wanted to get into a press conference, and they were denied entrance into a press conference because the press conference had certain requirements in order to get in. And again, this is illustrative of the fact that this is a place not generally open to the public, right? So in the case Brandsburg v. Hayes, where it states that the constitutional right of the free press does not grant them special access not available to the public generally. The legal understanding that people took away from that case is wherever the public can go, the press can go, right? There's never been a legal understanding of wherever the public can go, the press can go, unless it's a limited public forum, right? There's never been that understanding ever, right? So basically, and what the Price v. Garland case pretty much fleshed out is that the public forum doctrine is regulation of expressive activities, right?
Mhm.
And recording, and they called it filmmaking in the case, but filmmaking, recording, it's the same thing. So recording is a part of an expressive activity, right? It's not expressive in and of itself, right? If I'm standing quietly recording, I'm not disseminating that recording right then, right? So in a lot of First Amendment activities, you have parts to them, okay? So even though, displaying our news stories on YouTube is an expressive activity, right? But the act of recording the content needed to express on YouTube is not an expressive activity in and of itself.
Compiling the story and telling the story are two different things.
Exactly. It's the same as writing a song and playing a song, right? It's the same thing as writing a sermon and preaching a sermon, right? So we understand that the limited public forum can restrict some First Amendment activities. Again, expressive activities, speech, protest. What the limited public forum cannot regulate is Eddie Van Halen going to City Hall to pay his utility bill, and while he's standing in line, he decides to write in his little notebook a couple of lyrics for the new Van Halen album, right? They can't restrict that. They can't restrict the pastor who's in line behind Eddie Van Halen to pay his utility bill. They can't restrict the pastor from writing in his notebook his next sermon for Sunday, right? Nor can they bother Stephen King, who's behind him, who's jotting down notes for his new book in his notebook, right? So while they can restrict some activities, there's other activities they cannot restrict, right? And as the press goes, anywhere the public is allowed to go, right? Anywhere that's publicly accessible. We all know this. Those of us out there on the street, this is something we all say, okay? If it's publicly accessible, I'm allowed to be there. And that's absolutely right. If you're allowed to be there without a camera, you are allowed to be there with a camera, okay? Just like you're allowed to be there with a notebook, okay? And you can, write a song, which, again, is a part of an expressive activity. No one's going to say that you writing a song lyric is not part of an expressive activity, right? Because you write the song, you play the song, playing the song is expressive, right? And so that's something important that these folks seem to miss. Mark Stout aside, there's a lot of people in government who are just not understanding, these simple concepts. You know what I mean? Like, common sense wise, let's look at it just from common sense without any law, right? If citizens could go into government buildings and gather information without a camera, right? If they could do that, why would we need the press? If the citizens can go to places where the press can't go, why would we need the press? You wouldn't need the press then, because the citizens would be more informed than the press, who's supposed to be the ones informing us, right? You got anything to add to that, Crispy, or you just took off?
They just know their cops are stupid enough to just take this conclusion and be like, well, it says right here in black and white, we can throw you in jail. No, it doesn't. He's not saying that any of this is a crime. He's saying that he thinks that we could be trespassed for it, for their to help them keep their stuff private. And he's wrong. They have to keep their stuff private when there's people without cameras in there. So, I mean, that's a bullshit excuse. Just like you said, somebody with a photographic memory can walk in there and see everything and take it all down, just like a camera does.
That's right. That's right. Or we could go in there with a notepad and a note pencil and write everything down that we hear and that we see, and it's, you know, again, that's not illegal either. So basically, you know, again, what we have here is we've got the Attorney General putting out an opinion, and then the health department using that opinion to formulate policy to try to keep us out. Now, the first thing that we want to try in order to correct this situation is to, you know, get in touch with the Attorney General, and get in touch with the legal counsel for the Department of Health, and let them know what the true facts are, you know, and then see if their policy or their behavior changes from that. Barring that, if they don't change, if they don't revoke the policy, then what we're going to be looking to do is sort of a mass arrest scenario in which me and Rights and a couple other people, whoever wants to volunteer, go to Alabama, and we go to different parts of Alabama, different counties, and we all go into the health departments and we all get arrested, and then we all litigate it from there.
Class action.
Yeah, you know, if possible. If not, you know, do it, you know, separately, however it's done. But we want to, you know, really make a statement and really make an impact. And again, do that. BK said mass audit, but it wouldn't be a mass audit. It's pretty much just going to be a mass arrest. You know, we're going to go in there with our cameras. We're going to capture it on the cameras. Yeah, like
they're going to arrest people